I don't know about you, but the Black Friday sales this year seemed more aggressive than ever. I felt so bombarded by all of the sales, all of the posts, all of the videos about sales that I have not looked at any beauty content on YouTube or Instagram for like a week and a half. As a result, I didn't end up purchasing anything for Black Friday, so I'm just gonna do a full face of nothing new and have a transparent conversation about money, spending, and Black Friday sales. I'm not gonna talk about any of the products as I go, but everything will be listed in the description box below. So one of the first things I've noticed with Black Friday sales is just the timeline of inflation and a possible recession and how that's kind of affected everything. So for one, brands have been really pulling away from sponsored content, and it's not just me who feels this personally. All of my friends have said that their sponsorships have been totally drying up. I believe the marketing agency on YouTube 4 has a great video about this as well. And if you didn't know, I work in business development for an entertainment marketing agency, and we have an influencer department, and they told me that the first thing that goes, meaning the first budget that goes during a period of inflation or a near recession, is influencer marketing. So if you felt like influencers are really pushing their affiliate links and like really pushing the sales more than usual this year, that's why. And I definitely don't blame any of them for that. You gotta do what you can to make money. It's especially difficult if you only have a platform on Instagram or TikTok, because people really don't click affiliate links through those platforms. It's definitely easier to drive revenue on YouTube because people are more used to clicking links in the description box. Even though I'm an influencer myself, I couldn't help but feel like totally bombarded. It's just felt like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks even, of like this sale, this date, that date, and it's just totally overwhelming. And that's because brands are also really feeling the pinch. I had one brand reach out to me and say that their Black Friday sale was gonna be going on from November 9th all the way through to the 30th, and I was like, that's an entire month. It used to be that Black Friday sales just happened on Black Friday, and it was so much easier to kind of line up what you wanted to purchase and be more thoughtful of it because you just had that one day to think about it. But now you have like a whole month, if not a month, at least a week or two to just make impulse purchases and see a sale and like have that instinct that you need to get it and that, oh man, like you should buy it now when you can get a good deal. It's so much harder to exercise that muscle of control when there's such a bigger window when you could potentially break those habits. And it's times like these when I feel really lucky that I have a full-time job outside of content creation. And I'm at the point now where every single sponsorship has dried up for the first time in my entire YouTube career. And I know I'm definitely not alone in that. A lot of my friends have said the same thing, but a lot of my friends are full-time creators, and that's like a really scary position to be in. And so that's where a little bit more of like my channel and my relationship with YouTube and my relationship with money comes in. I feel like now that I understand what it takes to really make it on YouTube, I don't think it's the kind of thing that's ever gonna be a full-time career for me, and I'm okay with that. And I think it depends a lot on your goals, on what your comfort level is in terms of financial stability, and we all have different experiences. Everything in life is relative. You know, we all have different goals for ourselves. But having lived through a pretty prolonged experience of financial instability for myself, I'm a little bit less risk adverse these days. Feeling that pinch as an influencer and totally seeing the market and the economy change has really made me understand more of the challenges of being a full-time creator and what that can create for a person. And you know, I've also really come to understand what it takes to be a full-time creator, the things that you need to think about, and I've come to realize that my personality, my kind of product preferences, my spending habits don't really align well with a full-time YouTube career. I've pretty much done everything the opposite on YouTube that you should if you ever want to be a full-time YouTube creator. I'm super, super picky about products. I'm really, really critical, which is something that I love about myself. It's like one of my favorite things about myself. But a lot of times it seems like the majority of people do go to beauty YouTube to just see a positive experience, and you know, that's totally okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but that's not the content that I really enjoy filming. I love to look at things really critically, and I love to see if something, you know, really holds up to my standards. But it doesn't create the opportunity for brand relationships that really being a full-time beauty creator requires. In the past few months, my relationship with YouTube and my relationship with beauty products has been really shifting. Previously, I felt like I was really flailing around, trying to force a square peg in a round hole and make this pipe dream happen. And what it would require of me is really changing a lot about my personality and my spending habits, being a lot less critical, purchasing a lot more products, purchasing products as soon as they launch so I can get a video up, and really putting in the effort to put on this like bubbly, energetic personality for the camera. And I just really value what I currently have on YouTube, which is the ability to be myself. Because as time goes by, I just find myself wanting to own less and less, wanting to purchase less and less, and focus a lot more on spending my money on experiences. And I do think that that goes back to my relationship with money and sort of what that experience was for me growing up. My proudest accomplishment in life has been achieving financial stability on my own. And maybe one day I'll do that career video where I can talk about how I went from auditioning in theater in New York and working as a cocktail waitress to becoming a coordinator for a commercial director, then a studio manager, then getting a job in customer service at a tech startup, and then getting a sales job at a tech startup, and then that morphing into business development at an entertainment marketing firm. My entire career has been a series of like totally random jobs where I learned one extremely important lesson, regardless of how positive or negative the experience was, that then took me into a next phase of my career where I learned another really important lesson, and then eventually ended up in a career that really fits. Okay, just trying to figure out what blush to use. I have Phytosurgence Evaporate and Exothermic. I'm gonna start with Evaporate. So basically what I was saying is I've really been shifting my spending patterns and my relationship with beauty products and my relationship with YouTube. And it feels a lot more freeing. I feel like I can now just maintain the more minimal collection that I want, take the pressure off of myself to try to be something that I'm really not, and be really happy and fulfilled having, a really wonderful community of people on this channel. And who knows, maybe this second channel will be the thing that's my calling. Maybe that's what my life has been waiting for. You never know. I think I'm gonna try a dot of Exothermic just because it's like such a cool color. It's this like deep, rich, kind of burnt cranberry, I wanna say. It's so pretty, but as you know, my face eats cream blush, so by the time this video is over, I'm gonna have like nothing left. And I feel like the less I buy, the more creative I get too, and the more I get to explore what I already own in my collection. And that's basically like the antithesis of what it takes to grow a beauty channel on YouTube. And so I'm okay with that. Our rent here is gonna be raised on January 1st. We also are still really trying to buy a house, but we just can't afford what we need in LA because Thumper requires a yard. So when it comes to my relationship with money, I wanna save up to buy a house, and I really wanna save up to be able to internationally travel. So I've just been really conscious about what I've been spending, and I have a rule for clothes. The first rule is that anything that I buy for makeup or for clothes, whatever I buy, I also have to get rid of the equal amount in my collection so I can, maintain the size that I have. And my specific rule for clothes is that I can only buy items that I actually need, or I allow myself to buy some items if I'm gonna go on a trip. So no impulse purchasing, no buying something just because I want it. And to hold myself accountable for that, I just have a list of things that I feel like I actually need in my collection. One thing I have written down right now is that I could really use like a black pea coat. I need something that's gonna go with every outfit. So that's one thing that's on my list, that if I see something that fits that, I'm allowed to buy it. Whereas in the past few years, if I saw something on Revolve or Abercrombie that I really wanted, I would just purchase it without really thinking if I needed it and I really, really, really would use it or not. And when it comes to anything relating to discipline, it really is a muscle in your brain that you have to exercise just like any other muscle in your body. So something else I've been doing lately is I have been putting away my phone when I'm working, because I've just found that I just check my phone way too much. And so in order to exercise that muscle of control of not checking my social media profiles while I'm at work, I just put my phone in another room so that like I can't even get it. I can't even reach for it at my desk. It's just in another room for like an hour while I'm doing work, and then every hour I can check it. And it's funny because you would think that all of these areas of discipline would feel really restrictive, but instead I feel a real sense of freedom. Like I feel freedom from bad spending habits. I feel freedom from absent-mindedly checking my phone. And so where I thought I would just feel completely restricted, instead I just feel a lot better. But it took many years to get there. Like it took a lot of years of really absent-mindedly spending just because I could for the first time in my life. So it's easier said than done. And like, I certainly don't judge anyone else's spending patterns. It's just kind of something that I'm thinking about in my own life. And one of the reasons for that also is, you know, John and I are about to be freezing our embryos together in January, if all goes well with like syncing my cycle and the hormones and everything. I'm starting to have to think about one day maybe potentially being a mother. And, you know, after my family went through what we went through financially, I want to avoid that same stress at all costs. I want to do everything I can to set myself up for success in the future and just feeling like I have a safety net, you know, because God, that feeling of safety and stability is just invaluable. And as I think about the next phase of my life, you know, moving into my mid-30s, I want to do everything and make every decision for stability and for my future. And that is definitely not to judge anyone else's spending patterns. If I were a huge YouTuber, I would probably be going on vacations every other month. If you got that lifestyle, all the power to you. So John and I decided to skip birthday gifts and Christmas gifts this year, and instead we're both just gonna put a little bit of money into our travel fund. And I'm sure maybe a lot of you are thinking that, you know, you don't have to have a lot of money to travel. For me, because of my EDS and my dysautonomia, I have a lot of travel requirements and restrictions that actually make it like so annoyingly expensive, which is why the past few years, as my chronic illness symptoms have gotten worse, we just really haven't traveled with the exception of going to some local music festivals. And I know my chronic illness friends understand how expensive and tiring and time consuming and just stressful it is to travel and be out of your home environment. Like when you're not in your routine and you don't have all of your supplements and you have a totally different diet, you don't have all of your little doodads that help you feel better on a daily basis, it can make traveling actually like a total nightmare. So I'm really hopeful that as I start more treatments and as I go on more medication, you know, maybe one day I'll be able to travel internationally and I'll be able to actually enjoy it and I'll be able to feel okay and I won't be in a ton of pain and I'll have, you know, the energy that I need to have to explore a city and I'll be able to stand on my feet all day, which would be like a total miracle. I can't even imagine what it would be like to spend a day at a museum. Like I truly can't. But I feel hopeful that like one day I will be able to have those experiences. And so right now I really just want to save up for them. Do we do a little wing? I'm gonna do a little wing. Well, just a little boop. Yeah, because I have slightly hooded eyes. I always get that kind of break, but I can just kind of fill it in and smudge. By the way, even though the Refer face brushes really shed on me, the eye brushes are amazing. They're like super soft. They're the perfect shape. They do an amazing job at blending. Definitely give my recommendation on the eyeshadow brushes. I feel like that's good. Just like a very subtle, smoky vibe. And this is the brush in 02. Let me know if you're interested in a career video or, you know, in hearing more about my experiences growing up. I haven't posted it because honestly, it's a little bit nerve-wracking to post something so personal when a lot of those experiences having to do with finances were really traumatic for me in my childhood. People will always find a way to misconstrue your words on YouTube. Anytime I try to open up about challenges and talk about my life experiences, people seem to get the impression that I'm saying I have it worse than anybody else, and you know, that couldn't be further from the truth. I believe that everything in life is relative and that we all have experiences that are uniquely personal to us, and I don't think that trauma is a competition. But I think it can be really difficult for people to watch a YouTuber who clearly has a lot in their life complain about something. I think that's definitely a trigger point for a lot of people. So as much as I want to open up and I want to share a lot of different experiences that were, you know, really challenging and how I overcame them, I also want to protect myself a little bit from that negative feedback because I am so proud of the evolution that I've had and how I was able to really pull myself through a dark period in my late teens and early and mid 20s. I've had a really interesting life and I have had so many different experiences. A lot of times I joke that I've had 9 lives and I fully believe that to be true. Like I feel like I have lived 9 different lives. But you know, there was a time I honestly was not sure how I'd be able to pay rent and I was terrified. Those kinds of experiences really shift your relationship with money as an adult. And that's not to say, woe is me, feel bad for me at all. It just adds a little bit of coloring to my relationship with money and kind of how it's evolved over the years. And as much as I think people try to be really conscious consumers, I don't think that you can be a beauty influencer that is not in some way, shape, or form promoting consumerism, you know? And I feel like that might be why it seems like beauty views on YouTube are a little lower in general. I know there's been some talk online about how beauty YouTube is dying and all of that, and I think that could be a variety of factors. It does seem like beauty views are down in general. And I would love to know your take on that. Do you guys feel like it's because people are shifting their attention to more short form content, and people, when they log on for social media, they really just kind of want to scroll on TikTok and get a laugh? The TikTok algorithm, you can't lie, it's fantastic. It knows what you want and it serves you what you want. It's really good. And maybe it's also because when people go to YouTube now, since they can get their entertainment on TikTok, they go to YouTube mainly for education, or they go for something that they're searching for. That might be another reason as well. So I do think it has to do with YouTube in general, and maybe not just the beauty industry. But I don't know, when I think about beauty YouTube, it does seem like a lot of people are really shifting away from so much consumption of products that it would only make sense that people are watching less beauty YouTube in general. And that goes for me too. You know, I have a handful of creators that I'm really loyal to, and I love watching their videos, and I would watch anything that they do and anything that they say, because I watch for their personality, not for the products that they're reviewing. You know what might be fun actually? Drop your favorite beauty YouTubers in the comment section below. Keep them under 100,000 subscribers. I feel like more and more when I hear people wanting to find new creators, they always say that they're looking for more micro creators. And it's really hard to find those micro creators because, you know, their channels aren't as big. Maybe we can spread the love and share some new profiles for everyone to take a look at. Okay, can we just acknowledge I have no blush left on my face. So do you understand now when I say why I don't apply cream blush? It's like I have to apply it 4 times in a video just to get it to last until I take my thumbnail. I mean, I'm not crazy, right? It really faded. These days, honestly, the only YouTube channel I'm like totally religiously watching is Bon Appetit. Bon Appetit is so great for me because I find food content to be super relaxing. So I like to watch it like first thing in the morning. I like to have it on in the background all day. I like to have it on while I'm cooking, while I'm doing some work at night. But because Bon Appetit's really personality based, I also find that it's really entertaining as well. I also watch a lot of Hot Mode, and he does incredible fashion reviews, and he's like an encyclopedic brain for fashion history, which is just so fun to watch. When she posts, I also watch a lot of Jonna Yinten, who is a Swedish filmmaker who kind of posts all about her remote life in northern Sweden. I forget where in Sweden, but in a remote location of Sweden. I also watch a lot of Hope Mess Tom these days. Tom's channel is around, I think, 3,000 subscribers now, and it is really what I see the future of beauty, like really thoughtful, honest, detailed, creative, entertaining, critical kind of videos. And those are the ones I really find interesting, particularly their Critical Sass series. Okay, I just have to show you this. This is the Buble lipstick. It's the Avery Ovard collection. I mean, what? I've also been watching a lot of self-improvement channels like Lana Blakely and health self-improvement channels like Andrew Huberman. He doesn't have my favorite personality, but he does have really vital information. Oh God, this lipstick. It's my current favorite lip product right now. I cannot get over this. It is so glittery on the outside, but there is zero grit to it. It is just perfectly smooth, sheer and balmy, but that perfect flush of color. It's that beautiful kind of like pinky red that I love. Oh, okay, I think it's safe to say I need a little bit of blush again. So I'm gonna go in with Phytosurgeon's Exothermic on the back of my hand and then just do a little bit, rub it on the back of my hand and kind of apply it like that. Otherwise, it can be a little bit intense, and I like to have a little bit more control. You can see it does look kind of bruisey and kind of like reddish purple berry almost, but on the cheeks, it does warm up into something a little bit redder. Okay, so that's the final look, full face of Nothing New. You know, it's a little bit easy, a little bit minimal, but it's also a little bit glam, for me at least. I would love to know what you think about this conversation. Have you noticed anything different with Black Friday sales this year? Did you respond differently to it? What are your spending habits? How are you thinking about your relationship with beauty products? Do you feel like the beauty YouTube momentum is slowing down, or do you feel like people are just as excited and passionate about it as ever? If you like this video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. It really does help YouTubers to grow their channel. And wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.